Hello, that was me playing over an Osnoy tune called Flashback. It's a cool, funky thing. Just simple changes really. Just F minor 7, B flat 7, and then a nice little cool turnaround like a C sharp altered to like a C7 back to the F minor 7. So what I want to talk about today is just playing over changes, and basically just a real fundamental approach to that. A lot of people get wrapped up in the real sort of minutiae of it too early on, I think. We read too much into modes and altered scales and chromatic approach tones and substitutions and reharmonizations and all that stuff. That's all fantastic, and we should all learn that stuff later on, but it's absolutely not necessary to start with. The truth is, most of the information we need, in fact, really all of the information we need, is inside the chords already. It's already there. A lot of the older guys, a lot of the sort of older jazz players and stuff, Joe Pass, Barney Kessel, Tal Farlow, Herb Ellis, all them kind of guys, the kind of pioneers, Charlie Christian, Wes, all them guys, they really, to be honest, most of the time, they were just targeting chord tones. They just thought about chords. They were just using the arpeggios. They would use, obviously they had incredible phrasing and fantastic language and vocabulary on the instrument, but the majority of what they were doing when they were targeting the chord tones was exactly that, just looking for the sort of target notes in each individual chord and playing into those notes. I saw a fantastic interview with Martin Taylor where he was talking about playing over an altered chord, and he didn't even know what the altered scale was, which is unbelievable when you listen to Martin Taylor's playing. That's quite a difficult thing to fathom, but basically he just thought of the altered scale as all the possible extensions of an altered chord, which is exactly what it is. It's just like, by the same token, like a Mixolydian mode, for example, is just a fully extended dominant chord. So like an A13, for example, technically should contain all the notes of a Mixolydian mode, because you've got the normal, so the 4 basic chord tones of the dominant 7th, the 1, 3, 5 and the flat 7, and then plus the 9th, the 11th and the 13th, which also give you the 2nd, 4th and the 6th, so that gives you all of those extra notes anyway. So that's all of the notes of a Mixolydian mode. You've got them all there. So in essence, chord scales are the same thing really, but the thing is, if we treat changes like arpeggios to start with, if we target them with arpeggios, you're at the money notes already, because every note's a chord tone. So when it comes to playing over changes, the first thing I recommend everyone to do is play and learn the 4, what I call mother arpeggios. They're just the main 4 7th arpeggios that kind of give birth to all the others. So like, well, basically, in summary, you've got major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5. They're the 4. Anything else you play can come from those 4. Any other arpeggio that you play can be derived from one of those 4. Any other tonality, any other chord, 99% of the time. There's always exceptions, obviously. There's exceptions to absolutely everything in life, but you can get so far with just those. I mean, look at a tune that's difficult to play, like a really hard tune, like, I don't know, Giant Steps or Rhythm Changes or something like that. The chords in them are minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5. You'll get the odd diminished chord here and there, and you get things like major 6s and stuff like that. But they're only usually one note different, one note removed from one of those 4. So if you've got a real solid grasp, solid understanding of those 4 main types of arpeggios, you can play in and out of most chord types. That's where I would recommend everyone should start. learn them in the different positions. So if you learn your major 7s, for example, learn them here, learn them in all the different places that you play them. Just so you're really fluent with them all over the neck. That was like G major 7, 5 positions, for example. Just get fluent with them. Same for minor 7 flat 5s. Just make sure you know them, it'll help you play in no end. This was drilled into me when I was younger, when I was studying to go to uni and all that kind of stuff. And it was one of those things at the time when I was practicing them, I thought, like, man, I can't see how this is going to help. But ever since that day that I decided to learn them, well, probably took more than a day to be fair, but I've used them every single day of my playing life. I use them all the time. If I'm playing over a straight blues, I'll target the chord tones. If I'm playing, A7, D7, I might go land on the 3rd of the D7, the 4 chord, by using arpeggio tones. So we'll go up to the 5 chord, for example. I might go targeting the major 3rd, the G sharp of the E, and then back down to the major 3rd of the D, which is F sharp. And I might target the flat 7 of the A, for example, the A7. That's just a quick thing. You can do that with any set of changes. I'm going to get a lot more in depth on this in other videos. I'm going to talk about scales, approach notes, phrasing, all that type of stuff, and multiple other topics, but just within playing over changes. But I honestly think that you can't go wrong, or far wrong, by getting those 4 main arpeggio types absolutely nailed. So it was major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, minor 7 flat 5. You can learn them in any order, but that's a decent order to learn them in. Get them hammered all over the neck, different keys, many different keys as you can. Be able to play them in your sleep. The better you know this stuff, when you play over changes, when you've got a chord chart presented in front of you, maybe you're not as familiar with the changes, the better you know this stuff, the better you've got this stuff mapped out on the fretboard, you'll be able to tackle that way easier. And you can think more about things like musicality and phrasing and, tasteful notes and all that type of stuff, rather than just thinking, oh shit, where's the next arpeggio, where's the next root note. Just get it under your fingers. Alright, cheers guys. So like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more of this kind of thing. So if you like this sort of stuff, if you're interested in playing over changes, just improving your guitar playing in general, we'll probably touch on some theory, technique, loads and loads of stuff, then consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to start uploading fairly regularly, I think. So yeah, keep an eye out, and I'll see you in the next one. Hope this helps. Cheers guys.